If you're charged with domestic violence in Washington state, what do you need to do? What can you do to try to make sure that this terrible situation turns out okay for you and hopefully okay for your family and anyone else involved? Well, if you're interested in this situation, this is the video for you. My name is Lance Fryrear, and I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm has been handling domestic violence cases for more than 20 years. I was a prosecutor for 7 years before that, so we know both sides. In this video, I'm going to cover three things. What is domestic violence? What's special about that charge? What does it mean? What doesn't it mean? Number two, if you're charged with domestic violence, what are the special things you need to know right away to try to keep your life on track while helping your case? And number three, how is it that we can help your case and make sure that this turns out in a way that works for you, your family, and hopefully doesn't ruin anybody's life? So if you find this video useful at the end, please like and please subscribe. It helps get more information out there. Now I'm just going to jump right into it. Number one, what is domestic violence from a legal standpoint? What does it mean? And again, everybody out there, I'm not supporting domestic violence. Domestic violence is a terrible thing, but if you're charged with domestic violence, it still needs to be defended. And to defend domestic violence, we have to know what it is. So the legal definition of domestic violence means when a crime is between family or household members, it gets a special designator, a domestic violence tag or a DV tag. And think about family or household members as a legal term of art. Family or household members is basically spouses or former spouses, people that dated presently or in the past, pretty close blood relatives, brothers, sisters, parents, grandkids, stuff like that, and people that ever resided together, so roommates. Have you lived in the same house, although you never dated? That would make you a family or household member, and any crime you commit against a family or household member basically is eligible for a domestic violence designator. So the most common domestic violence charge is assault in the fourth degree domestic violence. So assault in the fourth degree is any unwanted touching. And if that's any unwanted touching is against a family or household member, that's assault 4DV. But just because it says domestic violence doesn't mean violence is necessarily involved, believe it or not. If you're accused of taking your brother's wallet and your brother was in Texas and you took the wallet in Seattle so it was nowhere around, well, that would be theft if you were stealing it. And because the wallet was owned by your brother, that'd be theft, domestic violence. So don't get hung up that I wasn't violent. Domestic violence is a designator that changes what the court can do. So how does it change it? What's the significance of it? Well, if on a misdemeanor case with a domestic violence tag, it means the maximum jurisdiction, how long the court can have probation on you, goes from 2 years to 5 years. It also means that the court is allowed to issue a no contact order against you at arraignment and restrict your freedom, keep you out of your home, keep you from having contact with the alleged victim. A DV tag also means that if you're convicted, in most cases, you're going to lose your right to possess a firearm. Not forever in most cases, but for quite a long time. Think 10 years is the way I like to think about it, before you can try to get your gun rights back in many cases. So that's what sort of a domestic violence charge is. It's a designator on other charges. It could be malicious mischief domestic violence, that's property damage, harassment domestic violence, that's making threats, and again, the most common is assault domestic violence. So moving on to number two in the video here, what else is special? What do you need to know about domestic violence right away and what to do so your life can go more smoothly? Well, the biggest deal is if you have not been arraigned yet, you need to get yourself an attorney to have any chance of avoiding a no contact order. In most cases, the alleged victim of the case, was very upset and possibly rightfully so at the time when you got arrested, but a few weeks later, they still wish to have contact with you. Well, I've already let you know that the prosecutor is going to ask for a no contact order and the court's normally going to issue one. But if you've not been arraigned yet, there's a chance where we might be able to have you do some things prior to arraignment, some classes or things, to make you a better risk for the court to not issue a no contact order if that's what the alleged victim wishes. Also, we're probably going to need to do some work to let the alleged victim know that if they wish, they can try and address the court at your arraignment and tell their wishes to the court. So that's one thing. A second thing is, let's say there's already a no contact order. How do you get your stuff? You got arrested, you got hauled out of your home, your computer's there, your clothes are there, your work tools are there. What do? Well, potentially with that no contact order get issued, we would expect that the court issued what's called a civil standby, which means one time you need to follow their rules to meet a police officer who's going to spend some period of time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes with you at the protected party's residence, probably your residence in the past, and so you can get some things. So you need to follow the rules about how it works in that jurisdiction. Usually you're going to get into an area that's reasonably close to the residence, but not so close it violates the order. And then you're going to call the police or the 911 or the non-emergency line, whatever they want you to do, to say, hey, I've got a no contact order and a civil standby. Can I have an officer? And then they're going to walk you through what you need to do. You're not going to get to move furniture out. You're not going to get to move big items out. You're not going to get that much time. But you need to follow the rules. And if you don't have a civil standby in your order, don't go try and do this, because you're going to likely get arrested if you are too close to the residence and violate the order. So those are some things that you need to know if you're charged with domestic violence, some special things. I guess one other thing to throw in is firearms. They're going to order you not to possess any firearms, typically when you get in front of the court for the first time. And if you have firearms, there's some things you're going to need to do. There's surrenders, there's declarations of non-surrender if you don't. So get a hold of an attorney. Don't ignore the firearm issue. It is complicated, and violation of those court orders can be a whole new crime, and that is not what you want. So moving on to number 3, what do we do about it? What are some things you can do to try to make sure this turns out okay? Well, the most important thing you need to do is get yourself an attorney, because this is the most emotional, one of the most emotional areas of the law, because it involves people. It's not just, a machine that says you blew over the limit. It's not taking property from Target. It's an emotional situation, usually between people that care about each other or have cared about each other, and it's a super complicated human equation. And you're going to need some emotional support in addition to the legal support. And you need to hopefully get both from someone you trust, like your attorney. So while the case goes on, the things you can do is listen to your attorney. Your attorney is going to like you, have you do some things. We might have you do some classes. I've got a whole video on DVMRT, Domestic Violence Moral Recognition Therapy. I can link it in the video at the end. We might have you do an anger management class. We might have you do some alcohol stuff. And we might not have you do anything. We need to hear what happened, and then we need to try to support you, and we need to try to get you doing the right things so we can turn this crisis into something positive. My counselors have always told me no good crisis should go wasted, and that applies to this situation too. What we want to do is make sure that you're treated fairly. We want to see if we can get you a resolution that keeps you from being convicted if possible, because there's serious consequences to your future if you're convicted. And we want to make sure that, to whatever degree it makes sense, that in the long run, that everybody is better and more whole when this is over. So again, there's all types of domestic violence situations. Anyone watching this, I'm not advocating that domestic violence is positive or every situation can be put back together. But from doing this for so many years, I do know that our clients that take it seriously, our clients that make the most changes in how they look at things, and they gain from this, are the ones that are happier and healthier in the long run. And of course, they're not going to jail either. So let's hope. So I hope you found this video useful. If so, please like and please subscribe. And more importantly, if you're charged with a crime, any type of domestic violence crime, please give my office a call. We've been defending this type of charge for more than 20 years. We'll be sensitive. We'll take it very, very seriously as you do, and we'll do everything we can to help. We'll be there for you. Thank you.